Resources are those informational assets you need to get the work done. They can be text, articles, PDFs, videos, audio files, images, links to websites, whiteboards, operating procedures, spreadsheets, and so on. So you've seen how we've added resources directly into the project pages and the areas. And some of those resources will be particular to just that one project. But other resources could be helpful and support multiple projects. These ones can live in the resources container, so you can relate them to any number of projects. So, how do we add resources in a project page to the resources container? Here we are looking at the resources in the project Set Up a Customer Database. Opening up the toggle for the heading resources, we see a table. And by dragging these, we now find that we have these two new items in the table. These items, if I click and open this one and open it as a page, we'll see from the breadcrumbs that this is part of the resources database. We can now go ahead and set the type as a reference, the area, and we'll put this into marketing. And there we have this resource ready to be linked to any number of other projects, as well as this Set Up a Customer Database project, which it automatically linked to in that process of dragging it from within the project to that table. While we're looking at resources, let's visit another part of the CORA acronym, which is R. R for refine. And the logic behind refining resources is so that we can extract their value faster. So imagine this. So we've just found this great article about generating quality leads. And we want to save this into our CORA system, connect it to the marketing area and a number of projects. So clicking this extension here, this is a Notion web clipper extension, and it works in any browser, Chrome, Brave, Safari, Firefox, you name it. The first thing that you see is the default title, and that's okay. We'll go along with that. I'm going to save the page into the inbox. That's the default location, but I could save it anywhere else by simply searching for a database or a page. Go ahead, save, and then click Open in Notion. It'll open up this page in our CORA system, and from there we can move it to where we want. So this is going to be linked to multiple different projects and an area. So we're going to move it first, and we're going to move it into resources. Okay, now that it's in resources, we have these properties that we're familiar with in resources. So this is going to be a reference, and let's have a look. Under areas, we're going to connect that to marketing. So under projects, we're going to connect this to set up the website blog, set up the customer database, and another one called leads. Let's have a look if we can find that. Adding quality customer leads. There we go. So we now have these three projects that this particular reference article, which we've clipped from the web, is relevant to. The initial and significant benefit that you get from clipping it from the web and into your system is that you can now start to read this article and highlight those things which pique your interest or that are most important and that you'll want to come back to. Now we can quite happily close this window in the web browser and go back to our CORA system. And if we have a look at any one of those projects that we linked it to, for example, the set up the customer database, which we're already very familiar with, we will find there is the lead generations, a guide to growing, I'll open it, to growing your sales funnel. Voila, there it is, complete with all of the highlights that you added earlier while you were in the browser, just after you found it and captured it to your CORA system. So let's explore this idea of refinement just a little bit further. Let's clip out, copy some of the most valuable pieces of insight that we got from reading this. Okay, and go back up to the top here, and let's push that down a little bit. We'll add a little line in there, and then we'll start to paste these items that we've just captured. So now, having formatted and summarized this article, we can quite happily know that even if we don't come back and reread this for a month or 2 or 3 or 4 or beyond, when we get back here the next time, we will now be able to effectively consume the content of this resource and extract its value in a matter of a few seconds, as opposed to multiple minutes that it took to read it in the first instance. And really, it's not particularly magic. It's just that it's not something that we perhaps would do by default. But if we learn to change the mindset and set ourselves up for success in the future, if we make a little bit of effort now that our future self thanks us for, it will pay dividends over and over and over again.